Hello, my name is Reg Hunter. I'm with Fiatech. Today is actually more of a working group discussion from the Voice of the Owners sessions, as well as an outreach to industry owners as well. The purpose of this discussion is to put more fidelity and identify owner leaders for our productivity advancement targets. We're lucky and fortunate today to have Deb McNeil with Dow Chemical talking about how she envisions our productivity advancement targets. And we'll be showing you the various individuals owner individuals that have indicated interest in these particular targets. And what we want to do is provide more resolution to who is going to be leading it. There's some cases where one of the owners has indicated multiple places, which is great, but they just don't have the bandwidth and capacity to do it. So what we're trying to do is clarify that and reduce it down. And this is being recorded. It won't be provided in any way in an open form. What it'll be is something we can use to send to owners that were unable to participate in the discussion today to help them understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, what the status is. So I'll have the recording, but we won't be sending it out to anyone unless they are an owner. So just if you have issues with that, please let me know. If you haven't signed up if you haven't indicated a productivity advancement target, there's ways to do that. We'll be talking about it, but that's going to be the way that we'll be reaching out to the industry owners and all the other stakeholders as well. So welcome. Thanks again, Deb, for your help on this, and it's all yours, Deb.
Okay, thanks, Reg. I guess just so since there's a smaller group on the phone, can we just go ahead and walk through the list and say who's on the phone?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Karen, or somebody.
I'm Karen Cleveland. I'm with Dow Chemical. I'm a construction manager.
This is Ted Weitzman. I'm a project manager at Southern Company.
David?
This is David Thompson. I guess I'm in engineering and at Eastman Chemical in Kingsport.
Okay, and Ray, you're with us?
Oh, yes, this is Ray Topping. I'm the director of Fiatech.
And Richard, or Ellis, I don't know which is your first name. Oh, he's still signing in. People are coming in as we speak, so maybe at the end we'll recap who hasn't introduced themselves.
Okay. Yeah, Richard Ellis is on my team. He's in the operations maintenance space. So.
Neat. I think I might have met him, right?
Yep. Okay. I just want to be able to hear voices so I can recognize who's talking. So, thanks. So this is a follow-up meeting to one we had in April. The objectives are to get everybody up to speed, but also to begin really working the owner-company alignment on the PAT leadership roles. If possible, we'll say which of us will be leading which PAT and which of us will be supporting, and make sure we're clear on next steps. So, any other objectives we think we need to put here? Anyone? Ted or David, okay? Or
Looks good to me, Deb.
so everybody, I know everybody on the phone so far at least has been here through the journey, so I'm not going to spend too much time going on it, but we are focused on using the productivity advancement targets to deliver the value expressed in the cost model. I feel at least that we validated the targets with the industry, so we don't need to spend, the PATs don't need to spend much time on the targets. It's more about how we achieve the results, or how we identify what it takes to achieve the results. So we are really focused right now on beginning to gather the industry knowledge on what are the enablers. And we're doing that through PAT Success Enabler surveys. So I think everybody on the phone is aware of that. and I'll give you a status update here in just a second. So the enablers are built to gather the behaviors, practices, technologies, and innovations, and to put them in a context so that a owner or EPC firm could assess its maturity level, understand the context of how things fit together, and the industry providers can tell us which space their solutions cover, again with the ultimate result achieving the cost reduction when you actually end up using the materials or the enablers. So this is what we've identified so far as the PAT team accountabilities. It's really around identifying and sharing existing practices and behaviors to deliver the PAT result. Also looking at technologies and processes, understanding what innovations and technologies are not there, sort of identify the pockets of excellence that we have and gather and share case studies in a framework that says, here's a piece at least of the puzzle. We've tried this and we were successful, or we tried this and we weren't. And then again, turn it into a maturity level assessment and understand the gaps and then charter those projects. So I think everybody on the phone, we've talked enough. Is there any questions left about what the PAT teams are going to deliver? Or do you think we're pretty clear? Ted, David, Ray? Any feedback?
Well, this is Ray. I think it's clear what the PAT teams are going to deliver around enablers, survey, collection of current leading practices, sharing of information to leverage what's being advanced across the industry, and then identification of gaps and look at projects and initiatives and activities to build what we need in those areas, and tools and work processes to achieve the targets that we've set out. So, but of course, I've been integrally involved in developing all of it, but I thought you did a great job summarizing it.
Okay, thanks, Ray. I just want to make sure before we start talking about who's going to do what, we're all pretty clear on what we're going to accomplish together. Any questions out there? Okay. I'm going to assume that we're clear. We during the conference and post-conference, we've really been out there saying who wants to work on which piece, and I'll show you sort of where we are on that. We are really have initiated this PAT validation step by issuing about half the PATs out there for on success. The success enablers on half the PATs are out there right now for survey. So our goal is to get that PAT framework validated here pretty quickly, and then go out and have the framework in place to do the call for industry expertise capture. So this is sort of where we are right now. Our goal is to kick the PAT teams off this month if possible. So that's sort of our target, is to figure out where we are in each PAT and get started. So we've validated the target. We've assessed where we are on the PAT success enabler definition. And we're right here at step 2. Let's get these teams formed and get working. So questions about where we are? Okay. So last time we met in April, we just asked ourselves, what's the status of the PAT description? And we put a little scale together here. You know, have we not started all the way up to we've totally validated, we've done the survey, we're good to go and begin collecting the expertise content. Our thought is we would issue the survey somewhere between 3 and 4, maybe even between 2 and 3, but you know, it's up to the staff and the PAT leader to say, yeah, it's good enough, let's go out and get other people to give us their input. So when we looked at it back in April, this is how we had assessed where we were. I don't know if anyone on the first 6 PATs from the staff, and this is where we are and whether or not we've issued the survey. Any updates on status? I don't know. Are Bob and Gary on the phone, Reg?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, no, they're not on the phone call.
Okay. Do you or Ray know of any change in status that I don't have reflected here?
Let's,
I've been working with Gary on the design process improvements description and update.
Oh, Stuart, you joined us just now.
Okay, so on the part 6, I've been working with Gary on updating the design process improvements. We're partially through that update. We should have that one finished by this week or through this weekend. So I'm a good ways there, and have it reorganized and a kind of an outline of building that survey. So we should have that this week.
If you need another set of eyes, let me know. This is Ted.
Okay.
Our goal would be to issue that survey in May, right?
Oh yes, yeah. If I don't get it done today or tomorrow, I'll finish it over the weekend.
Okay. Thank you. Any other updates?
Stuart joining.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Any other updates on the first 6, Reg?
Well, the first one I'm working on with Ken Fry with Siemens, and we have all the components. I have the structure, which is how do you organize the different success enablers to certain attributes. I've got those questions defined, but we just have to populate the questions. And from what Brian Lyons has done and what Ken has done, it's just we have the building blocks to do it. We just need to migrate it and incorporate it. So it's not like we're having to pioneer here. We're just having to organize and find time to do it. So it's in progress. I agree. That's true.
Okay. And then we will get a status report on the ones that are issued, what kind of response we're getting. I think one of the things we'll need to do is just go out to the people who expressed interest in that particular PAT and remind them that the survey's out there. So I'll probably send out a reminder maybe the week after next. So see what kind of response we get.
Yeah, I just had, Deb, I just had a real quick comment that's actually kind of interesting. I went through material management success enablers with ThomasNet, who's, as you know, is a Fiatech member. And it started off where they were saying that, well, we don't do, and they were kind of viewing themselves just as a supplier, not a strategic partner kind of thing. And in going through it, they clicked, well, yeah, I know how to do, enterprise-based information sharing. And so there were enablers that were directly in there that were directly mapped over to what they do and what they bring to the table. And I think that the dilemma we run into sometimes is people think that this is beyond the scope of what they can do. They don't realize that within each of the PATs, there's certain characteristics and behaviors that they really know how to do better than anyone else in the industry. And so the trick is how do you help people understand that don't lose enthusiasm when you're reviewing this survey, because if it's missing and you have a play in the industry, then we need to figure out what it is you do as a company or you as an individual does so that we map into it. And so, for example, there was a design group in Houston that want to review the PAT enablers for design. And they have some skills and characteristics that if they state it the way we have it for success enablers, we go, that's what that stuff's about. That's how it's relevant to what we're doing overarching. And so the reason I wanted to bring that up is that you don't have to have the whole answer. All you have to do is recognize that there should be an enabler that matches to what you're doing if you're involved in the industry.
Yeah, one of the things I want to put my Dow team through in probably it's going to end up being June, but is to walk through those that are ready and really say, where do we think we have fixed something, right, or done something that's maybe unique and leverageable, and also begin to look at where we have gaps. So I don't know, Ted, if you've started any of that, or David? Have you started to use the PATs for any kind of assessment yet?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was on mute. I have not yet, but intend to.
Okay. That'll be our review, is probably a team review, and say, how do you see it fit?
Right. What's interesting about the enablers is you can envision a scenario when you have at the front end where you have owners and EPCs driving it. Once we debate about is this suite of success enablers complete and accurate, if we have a deficiency, then all of a sudden it's like we still don't have an answer for this. And so now all of a sudden, as a group, we can reach out to industry representatives and say, do you have an answer for this? Do you have a solution for this? Because we've identified it as a key thing. And so now we have a way to unify our expectations and convey that to potential solution providers. And I think we shouldn't underestimate how powerful that is to give us a consistent voice.
I hear some whistling. All right, so back to the update. Stuart, any update on advanced work packaging information mapping?
It's in progress, Deb. Couple of things on at the minute, and whilst I'm working on it, I can't give it my fullest attention. So I am working on it, but it's going to take me a little bit longer yet.
Okay.
I was hoping to have something done by tomorrow, but I'm trying to organise a summit in London back end of the week after next, and getting all that together is pretty much full time at the minute. So.
Hey, no need to apologize, guys. No need.
Well, you know what it's like trying to get people together, trying to get people to reply and respond and all that. So yeah, I am on it, and I'm sort of discussing it with my my respective teams that I've assembled. So it's happening, it's coming together, but it's just not as fast as I'd like.
Okay. What about automated field data?
It's similar. I mean that's not as advanced, but that's following.
Okay.
Getting participation has been okay. Not as fast as I thought it would be, but it's coming along slowly but surely.
Richard, I know Richard Ells is on the phone from Dow. Do you have any time you could give Stuart maybe to just take a look at where he is or what he needs, or?
Yeah, I'd certainly be willing to take a look at what they put together or what the approach is so far.
Which one, Richard? What's your field of expertise? Is it AWP or is it mobile?
Mobile devices. Yeah, I've been dealing with mobile devices in the field for about 5 years now.
Okay.
From a operator rounds to now we are doing commissioning and startup using mobile devices.
Okay. Good.
And,
well,
yeah.
if we could take this offline, I mean, drop me an email and I'll follow up with you. But my email address is young@fiatech.org.
Okay.
And we can pick that one up. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Sorry to put you on the spot. Ray, interoperability?
Yes, interoperability's done. It should be a 3. It's I finished it a week ago, and it's out there to the interoperability team to review. Ted has a copy, is on the core team to review it, and Reg has it also. So I'm waiting for some initial response for review, and then as soon as I get that response, it'd be ready to send out. I think it's ready to send for a survey now. Probably has 50 or 60 different queries and questions on it. So I just would like a couple people to look at it and let me know if they see any gaps or obvious things that I left out, but that would also get picked up some in the survey. So I just need some feedback.
I'll have a response by tomorrow, Ray.
Okay, and even if you just skim through it, Ted, it's fine. If you're pressed to find the time to think through all the questions and look for gaps, we can catch up on that later. I think most of the key things we want to get feedback on in the survey are included there, but I certainly welcome any feedback.
You got it.
Ray, a question, and I'm all new to these the PATs, but when you talk about interoperability, does that also include like the transfer of data and documents between the different stages of engineering through to, I guess, from front-end loading through to operations and maintenance?
It does. Our interoperability has primarily been focused on document interoperability, so exactly that. That's what we're working on, and I'd welcome your input on it. We haven't focused on the interoperability of devices between themselves, so we actually see that coming to us more from the handover commissioning and operations group, and our team has been more of the project delivery side, so all of our interoperability has been focused on that portion, exactly what you just asked.
Okay, because I've been involved in the whole, as a owner-operator, defining the data and document requirements that we need from engineering for O&M, and even getting into document management system and document coding and that kind of stuff. So
well, that'd be great. I can get you a copy of the draft survey and would welcome your input on that, and maybe you want to join this PAT team. So this PAT team has been launched. We've been meeting in this PAT teams for the last well, since March, I guess, so the last 2-3 months, and we've got a core team that's working on technical details and a management team advisory group that's working on the business and communications. So this is the only team that's been launched, and they launched with the survey, or with the summary out of last September's leadership forum, and we've got a couple of projects underway that they're focused on driving, and I've been coordinating that team and catching up on our survey instrument. So I'd be happy to get you engaged in that team also on the core technical team, which is maybe where you will want to be. And the advisory group's really looking at, well, are the projects being produced and the documents being put forward, are they being done in a way to communicate the business message and opportunity around them, and communicate that effectively to people that are not the detailed technical oriented folks? So sort of a bridge between, well, great if we get a nice information mapping and modeling paper done, but if we don't have a business value description around it and a guidance on how you implement it and get it underway, it's a nice piece of work, but not very effective or compelling. So often the people that can do that detail are not the same people that are best at assessing the business value and communication. So we've got 2 groups working under this team.
okay, I'll follow up with you on I guess the details of what you guys are working on.
Yeah, we actually just had our core technical PAT team meeting just prior to this call, so that team meets every 2 weeks.
Okay, and then does anyone know where Gary is on number 11?
I only know that Gary told me he's working on it and Bob is helping him, and his intent was to get that completed this week. I know he only works part-time for us, and I know it's in progress. I haven't seen any drafts or development of it, so I'd say he intends to get it done in May.
Okay.
And I've been pushing him hard on this because it's where there's significant identified savings opportunity around commissioning and handover, and a lot of interest in this activity, so I've been pushing him to get this prepared.
Yeah, this is Richard again. I hate to keep putting my name in there, but that's actually commissioning and startup and turnover is actually where we are currently with the projects I'm working on. So same thing is, what does it take to commission a plant? What kind of data is required? What kind of documents required from engineering and from suppliers?
Well, good. We can get you connected with Gary and Bob to help get this one underway. It's like one of our most important ones to get launched.
Okay, great. Any other updates from where we are on getting the surveys out? Is the framework there to gather the knowledge, and then who says they have? Part of the question in the survey is, do you have something knowledge to contribute, right? So it also tells us the PAT team leaders who they're going to be engaging with on the second piece, which is to get the knowledge consolidated. So. Okay, before we talk about who's going to fill which role, I did a real quick high-level first pass at, let's talk about the team roles. We said there would be an owner-operator leader, obviously owner-operator team members, an EPC leader, EPC, AEC team members, and then our industry and academic solution providers, academic partners, and then there would be a Fiatech staff liaison for each PAT team, which is the names you just saw review, the PAT enabler survey status. This is, again, first high-level look at what's the difference in those roles. I see the PAT owner, operator, leader, it is working in partnership with the staff and the EPC leader, but acts as a lead facilitator for the PAT team. And then each PAT team can decide how they divide up the accountabilities. But one of the principles we formed this activity on was that the owners would be the primary drivers, since we're the ones that would like to achieve the value delivery. Everybody okay with that statement, or just owners here, so feel free to talk. I mean, that's where we're headed, right? We're gonna take the lead and drive this thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to be careful though, in talking with our partners and finding ways to share the benefit, right? But I think that's indicated here too as a win-win result. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that is one of the requirements, right? We focus on the value delivery, but we end up that everybody wins.
Yeah.
And they see what's in it for them to participate in this. But also, the owner would make sure we have enough owners, applying peer pressure, right, to get enough owners in here. So three or four companies don't have to do all the work either. So. Any other thing you would add to this? David, did you want to be a presenter? No.
Nope, sorry. I was actually
okay.
just looking for the attendee list. My apologies.
That's okay. Yeah, maybe since we don't all know each other's voices yet, we probably should say who we are when we're speaking. The guy who just volunteered for everything is Richard Ellis. He works with Dow.
So Deb, did you prepare this description for the owner-operator?
I did.
Did you see the draft PAT team roles and responsibilities that Bob Weibel prepared?
I did.
Okay.
I pulled a lot of what Bob had was the team itself, which was the slide I showed earlier. The slide. But okay. I did pull it out, yeah. No, I'm in line with what Bob said. I probably had fewer words, but.
Okay, I was just wanting them to be in alignment and make sure that our descriptions match your intent here. And it, Bob did it as an initial draft, so it certainly is open and welcome to have input and feedback on it. And I was just checking to see if that had occurred. So good that you've seen it.
Yeah, no, I want to have this conversation with the other owners and then go back to Bob and make sure we sync up. I agree. Anything else you guys would add to this as a key accountability of the owner leader? Someone's got to call the meetings, right, and drive it. So we're saying that's our role. And then we would ask the PAT EPC leader to, again, develop a strong partnership with us, co-lead activities as needed, but also act as sort of the peer pressure or the coordinator for the EPC AEC participation. So we want to make sure that each PAT team has a strong EPC AEC voice so that we don't overdrive and make it into a win-lose for our partners. Concerns or, I agree, the conversation, I mean, to me, our side of the PAT leadership has to be really willing to build a partnership, not go too far either way, right?
Absolutely.
David, any concerns you have or additions you'd have, or?
No, none right now.
Okay. Who else? Who other owners do I have on the phone? Anybody? Okay. And then all the PAT team members would contribute expertise, identify and pull in outside experts to accelerate results, be transparent about what's a win for you. And then I know one of the things that each team's going to have to address is finding the right balance between protecting our individual intellectual property while making its availability visible to the industry, right? This is probably a bigger challenge for our software partners or technology providers, but I think we have to be very upfront and deal with that. Have you guys already started to have these conversations internally about how much we're going to share and how much we're not, or?
In the past, we've been pretty transparent, and I expect us to continue to be. But that issue that you bring up, especially with our software partners, we'll just have to address those as we go.
Yeah, hopefully they see this as an opportunity to showcase where their solution fits in the problem, right?
Yeah, they would certainly like us to do that for them, and we would be happy to do that if they're providing solutions. But there will be a limit to what they will allow, right? And I'd like to get beyond to just showcasing a solution and getting into the nuts and bolts of how, and we'll just have to address that with the vendors as we move.
Yeah, and how not to say, oh, first vendor in gets to be visible and everybody else doesn't, right? How to
Right.
let tech vendors come tell us what they have in that space, So I think managing that dynamic is one of the owners have to be able to set the right dynamic there, right? We can't do anything to play them off each other.
Yeah.
Or to again, if we start sharing lessons learned and success stories, how to do that appropriately also, right? Because you may try something with a vendor and it may not work, but you don't want that vendor to walk away from the problem. So I think an area of ongoing dialogue, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you can abstract it. I think it can be abstracted enough that you don't cite a specific vendor or solution provider. You define what are the characteristics and attributes associated with a viable solution, and you point to what limitations you've encountered previously without pointing fingers at anybody. And so what you really have at the end of the day is, what's viable and, how far away we are from it, but you haven't really compromised anybody's position.
Yeah, I think we just have to be very sensitive to that, right? Because everything's not going to work out there. It doesn't work the first time. You got to figure it out. So.
And when we've got to be able to share our learnings from that too. So I think that's implied.
And then Fiatech staff, I did pull this from Bob's write-up, Ray. So, yeah. And I guess, again, expectation setting will have to be at an individual PAT level of what kind of support we need. I know we're actively looking at collaboration environment we can work in, so that may determine who does what. But anything the Fiatech staff on the phone would like to add to this?
I think this is good and well done. I don't want to write it on the Fiatech staff role, but we tend to step in anytime leadership's needed and to help drive things. So we feel a lot of the continuing leadership on things because you as owners and our other EPCs and members have significant day job roles that demand you and can pull you away. So we make sure things continue to move forward, and often end up leading things that would better be done by the owners or EPCs or others, but you just get pulled away and interrupted, and so we kind of provide that continuing thread of driving forward and step up to fill in things, and we probably do too much of that, but we don't want to have interruptions or not be prepared for the other members and team participants. So I'm not sure how to best word that, but maybe that's a good enough. So we back up the leaders as needed. So we do a lot of that, but I think it's just the nature of the way Fiatech needs to operate. We need our members driving things so we get hands-on experience and knowledge, and things are tested against the real work environment. And even though most all of us came from real work environment, you can quickly forget how demanding and complex and pressing that is, and begin to imagine it's easier to deliver than the real world has. So we need the model that we've got, but but we do a lot to back that up.
Yeah. So as one of your partners, I would say I really appreciate that, but don't get to the point where you're rescuing us if we're not holding our side of the house. Then we need to hear that too as an owners group, voice of the owners group, and we need to figure out how to not just dump and run on you guys. So.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, and we probably step in to do too much, and it then stretches everything else that we're doing. But so we'll try and make more clear that we're doing that, so you owners, EPCs, and members can see that we need your engagement.
Yeah, there's one.
I think now that you have owner, we're trying to spread who's engaged, right? Beyond a couple of people in each company. Any call for help. I mean, if you call for help against the people who have signed up within a PAT area, well, maybe we can not get as much of that. So.
Yeah, and I think there's another component here, and not altogether sure how it works. Deb, sort of like how we were talking about this environment for how do we refine the PATs and coordinate people's inputs and perspectives, and at the same time we wanted to look at interactive project planning software. So one of my things to do is to reach out to the 5 or 6 people that organizations I identified for you, so I can envision down the road various success enablers having like, well, who has it out there? And maybe the owners don't necessarily want to be the principal interfaces with these guys until they come on board as Fiatech members. And so I think that staff would probably, I know I would be willing to go bring those resources on board as aggressively as I can, because it helps us solve the problem. So I think that's another aspect of what the staff could be doing.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for my other owner partners here, but when I'm in a partnership with somebody, you know, I just need to be very transparent and tell me what you need for you to be successful. I'll tell you what I need for me to be successful, and then we'll work it out. Who's going to do exactly what in this particular case, right? I guess I don't like black and white lines. That's your space. This is my space. I like to work together and get it done somehow. So, but that only works if people ask for help and holler when they have too much and are clear on what they need, right? So.
Right.
I agree with that. I think you know, on teams, and much of the work done across the capital projects industry is done in teams. There's a expression that you know, we have individual responsibilities, but we have joint accountability. So, you know, if someone is challenged or struggling or needs support, we should all step in and do that. So, yes, we all have individual responsibilities, but we're all accountable for getting team success.
I'm totally aligned with that. Everybody else? Good? Okay, I did want to briefly just mention, and I know we need to get to who's going to take which team, but they're also, the roadmap champions will still be part of the structure of Fiatech. I won't read you this, but they're working on clarifying their role. They're going to come over and help work on the PATs, but they are the subject matter experts in their relevant roadmap element, and we will be running our charters past them, just to make sure that, again, as the SMEs, they don't see something. A lot of our charters will end up being in the white space between elements. So we sort of need to know the guy upstream and the guy downstream, have a chance to look at what we're talking about and make sure we're not missing something. So again, this will be in the minutes. You can read through it. It's a work in progress with that team, but I see it as a critical role to maintain, so that we don't, again, so all the pieces fit back together in the end. So, any other thoughts or about that? Everybody's okay? You guys are quiet today. So one of the things, I think everybody on the phone's already expressed the interest, but if anyone is out there that you're talking to, we hope to use the article that just came out in Built Worlds as a way to get them engaged. And in that article, again, it's going out to 50,000, or it's gone out to 50,000 people. So in that article, there is a link to where we're collecting who's interested in working on which PAT. So and you might begin to point other companies or other folks to that, or share that article. So. Reg, did you send it out to the link to everybody, or will you send it out to all Fiatech members?
Yeah, there'll be some follow-up. I need to get with Barb and Eva about this after the meeting, and let them use the social media track to be able to link people into it. But it'll go out. There'll hopefully be some afterglow of this in multiple places. Like I've reached out to MCAA to have them to reach out to their groups and so on. So we're in CABA. So this is just the beginning. So we're really trying to raise industry awareness about this. So the answer is yes.
Okay, so only 15 minutes left. Let's just go look. I guess by look, I see Eastman, Dow, and Southern Company on most of the PATs. I guess the question is, how do you want to divvy them up, right? Chevron, the leadership, divvy the leadership up. Maybe not to the individual, but which company. So this is PAT number 1, which is change readiness. I guess, Ted, if you took one, which one would you take?
Oh, that's really tough, right? In my responsibility here at Southern Company too is I've got to get other folks involved, and I'm struggling with that a little bit, to be honest, just because of our current environment and workload. But I will commit some time to that over the next few weeks to get more people involved, because it's not just one. For me personally, you know, I guess interoperability would cover the most for me personally, but let me think on that.
Okay. So you're a potential for interoperability?
Yeah.
All right. Which number, Reg? Sorry.
That's number 10.
Okay. David, where are you guys on lining people up?
I got to be honest, Jan didn't fully fill me in on this. I got your meeting notice, so that's why I'm saying very little. I need to touch base with Jan.
Okay, well, Jan put herself down several places, but I think Eastman's, if I go down through, what we'll do is we'll send out this, maybe what we should do is then send out this this workbook, which basically has compiled all the folks who have expressed interest in each of the paths. And you'll see at the top the owner-operators, then the EPCs, and the solution providers, and then folks who are non-members right now, okay? Maybe working on membership, but are currently non-members. So what we need to do is decide which company and then which person will act as owner. The rest of us will, if you'll see, Dow is, I think, in every single one. One or more members of Dow said, I want to play, but I think we got to pick a leader. So pretty quickly, right? I mean, our goal is to get started this month. So do we need a week to go do that? Or how long do you need, to think, Ted, David?
Give me a week, and I'll see what I can do. Yeah, yes, a week.
Yeah, I'm out next week entirely, so I would need to early June.
Okay.
For the last week. I guess Memorial Day weekend week.
Okay.
And you're going to send this out today, right, Deb?
Yeah, I'll send it out, and then I don't know, the Dow guy's on the phone. Is there one you wanted to lead or wanted to participate, Richard?
Right now, they participate.
Okay. Karen?
You know, I sent a list in about which ones I want to participate in, so let me go back to that, and if there's one that really, strikes me hard that I would love to lead, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I haven't decided by the end of the day.
Okay. Anyone else on the phone? I've lost track if anybody else joined us.
No, I think that's there's Bill Napier. He's been very quiet. I don't know if you have a comment.
Yeah, this is Bill. I'm intrigued and monitoring this, and wish I could just put it in a pocket and make it happen. But I'll help any way I can. So.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bill. Which company are you with? Bill?
I'm sorry.
Which company are you with? Just.
I didn't understand. I'm sorry.
Which company are you with?
Oh, I'm with the Wisconsin Department of Administration, public owner.
Oh, okay, great. Welcome. So as you can see, we're getting ready to initiate quite a lot of industry engagement, and we're looking for who would like to do conversation. So, all right, we'll send this out to the whole. Well, I guess we'll send it out to the whole owner group, explain the task, and ask for both participation, clarification, and also leadership who'd be willing to lead each one, and try to get that resolved in the next maybe 10 days before the end of the month. So, Ray, I know you'd like to get them kicked off in May. Is that going to be acceptable to the staff?
Well, of course, we have to do them in an effective way to get them started on the right path. So as soon as we can do that is what we should move forward with. We did say at the PAT Roundup session at the end of the annual conference that we would launch our PAT teams in May, but I think we don't get them all ready. We launch the ones that are ready to go, and we catch up with the other ones, and I think all our members will understand that it's important to do this right, and that's more important than meeting the target of everything underway in May. So whatever we can do and do it well is how we should go forward.
Okay. So we'll shoot for as fast as we can. I'll say it that way. So, but definitely before Memorial Day, possible. And then, is there a concurrent conversation going on with our EPC partners, or is that something we need to begin?
I talked to Jim Purvis about or doing something similar to with all the EPCs from his vantage point. So it was kind of sequential. I've already sent him the link to the Train article. I think there's going to be a meeting right after this that he's going to be involved in with Ray. So we're trying to hone in on who the touch points are with respect to EPCs on this. So I'm not sure, Ray, if you think Jim's the lead on it or what your thoughts are, but we're having to do something equivalent in that regard.
Well, I know you've talked with Jim. He would be great to lead it. So if he's mulling that over to decide, that would be fine. And we can work with him to get something underway. It takes some energy and effort to coordinate these, but we need the EPCs to step up and be participating. So we'll see what we can get available from Jim to make that happen.
Yeah, I think, Ray, ideally the owners would step up, name the leaders, the EPCs would name the co-EPC leader, and then we on the parallel path, we can develop some, for those teams that haven't initiated, we can develop some common kickoff material that we could then give to that pair and say, okay, you already know who wants to be on your team, right? People have expressed interest. We've got a list. Let's go ahead and kick it off and go. So maybe if we can work with Jim and on the EPC side and get those names again by Memorial Day, that would allow us to go ahead and pair up and kick off.
Okay, that'd be great. I do have some initial draft kickoff material that I used for my interoperability PAT team. So okay. I think it's a starting point to build a generic one for all the PAT teams, and it was just me creating it. So, and it was ahead of some of the things that we're doing. So I think it needs some further development and input, but a starting point.
Okay. So we need to get owner leads assigned, get the EPC leads assigned.
I have to sign off for today to get my next meeting started, but this was a great session. Thanks, Deb, and everyone for your leadership today. And, let us know how we can continue to support and help.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay, thanks, Ray. All right, and then we'll continue to work the collaboration environment and then get them kicked off, and we'll get the materials. Anything else that you guys need from us?
I'll stop the recording here in just a second. If you go to the next slide, there's some really strange artifact in GoToMeeting. So yeah, so that hopefully will mean that it gets updated. So I'm going to stop it now.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.